Welcome back to another League of Legends guide video. Today we're going to talk about junglers and especially enemy junglers and how we can pretend to have radar hacks and pretty much always know where they are going to be and what they want to do. This is going to be a bit more of a free-flowing video, not as scripted, so you'll have to bear with me. But I'm going to quickly show you my setup for this game and how I'm going to be explaining things. So here you have top lane, you have whatever matchup you envision here. It's not really going to matter until later. You have mid lane, you have bot lane, and we have blue wards lighting up the enemy jungle and our jungle to make it a bit easier to explain. So what you want to do at the start of pretty much every game is to scout out where the enemy jungler is starting. This is you've spawned in, there's a gate here that opens at I think it's 15 seconds, and you grab your jungle item, a potion and a ward, and you head out into your own jungle. There's a few things that you need to watch out for, especially with invade champions like Morgana, Leona, Blitzcrank, Nautilus. They can make the game a bit difficult at level 1. Most of the times they will try to invade through here or through here. In some high elo games they might try a topside invade to kill the jungler waiting here or the top laner waiting here, but it's pretty uncommon. So let's say you don't have to worry about any invades and you just want to do one thing. You want to find out where the enemy jungler is starting. And you do that in multiple ways. You can either walk up here with your team as 5 and simply place a yellow ward over here. Now if you don't see him, it's not an issue, because once 130 hits, that's when the big buff spawns. If he is not on this, then you can pretty much assume that he is on the other side. That way you know for sure that he started here. But let's say you don't have a way of getting this ward down because they have stronger level 1s. Another thing you can do is look at the lanes. Let's say bot lane shows up for the first wave at the same time. Mid never leashes, so they always show up to the first wave at the same time. You have your top laner here, but the enemy top laner is late. What does that mean? We can assume that the top laner helped leash the red buff and that the enemy jungler is starting on red side. Most junglers, unless they are something really cheesy like Chaco or Twitch jungle, which I don't really think is good anymore, will always have a red buff into Krugs, into Raptors as a start. After 3 camps, they can then decide, is there a gank top lane? Is there a gank mid lane? Is there an invade angle here? Or do I just keep clearing? That is something that you decide after 3 camps. And it all depends on the state of the lanes. If they are all balanced, if they're all even, if there's no gank angle, always assume that they're just gonna keep clearing. One thing to keep track of, which is really important, if I hold tab here, you can see I have 0 CS. I'm just gonna perma-smite this. And now if I hold, I have 4. Each camp gives 4 CS. So if I'm the enemy jungler, let's say I'm Nidalee now, I'm the enemy jungler. I did this, which gave me 4. I come here. I do this. I do that. And let's say now that my top lane is fighting, I'm red side jungler, and I show up, boom. If I'm playing the jungle here, I hit tab, I see Nidalee have 12 CS, what does that tell me? It tells me that Nidalee has cleared 3 camps in this quadrant of the jungle. it tells me that since Nidalee is here, that all of her camps are up here. She has not taken them. If I was still here, and now I'm blue side Nidalee, so keep that in mind, and I see Nidalee is right here, or enemy jungler is right there, sorry, I now have a decision. Do I keep clearing as usual, like a six camp full clear, or is there an invade angle? I know I can get to this before Nidalee can walk all the way from there to there. So I can go into this. Boom, I'm invading. This is a bit harder if the enemy team, or especially enemy mid laner, is pushing and if the wave is here, because they can rotate to me faster. Same with bot lane. If bot lane has the wave here, their enemy team or their enemy bot lane can rotate to me faster. So you need to have that in mind. So if that was the case, then the invade was not a good idea, and you would, from this position, from this position right here, keep clearing. So you would just keep clearing your jungle. And another important thing to know, once you have done 6 camps, what camp did I miss? I did. Oh, it is correct. It is 6 times 4. I'm stupid. It's 24. So if now I'm the blue side jungler and I show up top lane, and enemy jungler hits tab and sees, oh, Nidalee has 24 CS, it should tell you that they have full cleared their entire jungle. This is how you keep track of what the enemy jungler is doing. If for each 12 CS, it is an entire squadron, since every camp gives 4. So let's say I have recalled, I have bought items, I have cleared again. I have cleared again. This is still before the second buff spawns, and I show on vision, and I have 32. I had 24. It should tell you that I cleared 8 more. So I have taken my Krugs, and I have taken this. If I die here for whatever reason, the enemy jungler should know Nidalee has taken her Krugs and her Raptors, and her blue side is most likely up. So this is where she is going to be, because you don't go from spawn to a lane, like to gank here, if you don't have any camps up. If you do, it's just a waste of time, and you're going to fall behind. And there is nothing more important in the early game than levels. Levels gives you insane amount of gold stats. It gives you access to higher damage abilities, longer CC durations. Levels is the most insane stat to have early game. It scales way better than gold for at least up to level 6. So if doing this is not worth it, you have to go to the camps. And if you're tracking the enemy jungler and their CS, you would know where they're going to be. So let's say I know that Nidalee has these camps up. I am free to have 30 seconds to do the dragon if I'm red side jungle. I can look for a bot gank. I know I have a timer that I can play on. Another thing to talk about is, I'm gonna quickly drag in a notepad here, is things list. Can I make this a bit thicker? I'm sorry, you just have to bear with me here. Font, family, regular, size, 16, style, bold. That's much better. Right. List of things. junglers like to do early game? Gank. Affect the early game as much as possible. Make it bigger. This can be getting a gold lead, getting summoner spells, anything. You just affect the game, pretty much. Farm. Can't type. Get to level 6 ASAP. This is your most important spike. I know it's kind of ironic since I play Nidalee. Her character doesn't really change much, but she gets more stats. But most champions have insane spikes at level 6. And that's where junglers especially can affect the game. Because you're only really playing jungle for the first 14 minutes. After that you become sort of a second support in most games. 3 dragons. Dragon stacking is important for teams' mental. For whatever reason, teams just love when the enemy, or when you, get a lot of dragons. They see it as a winning condition, even though it's not always the case, and they will have a more positive attitude as long as they see dragons for their team. Herald. Easiest way to get gold via tower plates. I'm gonna type 14 minutes because that's when tower plates fall off and Herald loses a lot of its value. 5. Invade. Taking one camp is a double win. You gain 1. They lose 1. Where is the ambience volume? Let's turn that down. I don't want to hear dragon growling. Sorry. And the final thing is, I don't really know what to name this one. I'm just gonna call it a champion's dream. Champion's dream. What does their champion ideally want to do? If I'm Master Yi, do you think I want to have like the craziest early game where everyone is fighting, or do I want to farm? Where every game is like, every lane is balanced, nobody's fighting, it's safe to farm, and I can just scale to my first item peacefully and then win the game from there. Like a champion's dream should basically mean what would they like to do the most? What would be ideal for them? That's something that you need to think about. Once we know these and we can keep track of this, we sort of get an understanding of what the enemy jungler wants to do, depending on the champion that they want to play. Shyvana wants to farm, wants to take early dragons, she prioritizes this a lot. Lee Sin wants to gank, Xin Zhao wants to fight the enemy jungler because he's stronger early game. With experience, you will start to learn these things and you can sort of predict where the enemy jungler is going to go, what they want to do, and how they want to affect the game in their own way. Now, we're going to talk about something else as well. Something that is very important, and that is the timer. Now it's 20 minutes into the game, because it's a practice tool game, whatever, but let's pretend this is still 3 minutes, 3:30 in. At 3:30 is when most junglers finish their first clear. First full clear. That means they've taken Krugs, red, raptors, wolves, blue, and Gromp. 24 CS. They should have 24 CS. At 3:30 the Skull Crab spawns. If you can get one, it's really good. It gives vision, and if the jungler wants the path from here to here, it's pretty hard because they will step on vision. We never value crab over a big camp. Crab gives very little XP and basically no gold. You can sit in base for 5 seconds and you probably make as much gold as this crab gives you. It's a bit of a noob bait to go for this at all times, especially if you feel like, oh, I can double crab someone. In reality, what you're doing is you're putting yourself out of tempo. You need to, after a full clear, decide, is there a gank? You can take 1 crab, that's fine. But after that, you need to decide, is there a gank? Nope. Have they full cleared? Yes, there's nothing for me here. I recall. I need to spend my gold. You're typically going to have between 800 to 900 gold, depending on if you full clear or not, or if you gain something, whatever. But you need to spend your gold. Next timer, 4:15. Can you guess what happens at 4:15? It's when the first small camp respawns. Why is this important? Let's say I started at red buff and I full cleared Krugs, blah 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 blah, and what would be the first camp for me to respawn? This takes 5 minutes, like blue and red buff takes 5 minutes to respawn. Smaller camps are the most important. These are the main source of our XP as junglers. So we know that they take 2 minutes, and smaller camps takes 2 minutes 15 seconds to respawn. So you know, oh, they are so loud, goddamn. You know that at 4:15 is when the first small camp respawns. This gives the most amount of XP, because when you kill this level 1, it gives pretty shit XP, but every time you kill a camp, it levels up, it gains more HP, and it gives more gold and XP. So if nothing is happening on the map, every lane is even, every lane is balanced, you can always guess that at 4:15 the jungler is going to be at the first camp that respawns on the side that they started on. If red side jungler we know started red, their Krugs is going to spawn at 4:15. They are going to be here. If the wave top lane is here, there is not really an angle for the jungler to come. This is like a safe pocket right here for blue side top laner, because you're not really gonna walk up here and gank unless you're Elise and it's extremely high elo, and it just never happens. So if we know that red side top laner is going to be here at 4:15 and he doesn't show up top, he doesn't show up mid, what can we assume? We can assume that the jungler is gonna go from red side Krugs to red side Raptors, and it's going to take between 20 seconds. After 20 seconds, if they don't show up mid from here, where do we assume that they're going to go? To their camps on the blue side, because then they have spawned. So at 5 minutes and 30 seconds, we can assume that they would be bot side, because they started red side. That is if nothing has happened. Let's say that it is, and we're matching them. Let's say they cleared this, we cleared this, we come to our blue side here, it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds, and I'm level 4, level 5, and boom, enemy jungler shows up here. What does that tell me? it tells me that they haven't cleared these camps and that they are free. It tells me that I have at least 30 to 40 seconds where I can take Dragon if I can do that safely early game. Let's say I'm Warwick, I'm Vi, I'm Shyvana. It's pretty free, like, to take Dragon. It tells me that I can gank mid. It tells me I can gank bot. It tells me I can keep clearing. Let's say my champion is not really good early game. It tells me I'm safe to keep clearing. It gives me a lot of information. Now, this spawns... I'm not really sure. I think they changed the timer, or they didn't. It's some PB stuff. I know for sure it used to be 5 minutes. It might still be 5 minutes. I'll add the time on the screen in the edit later. But let's say this spawns at 5 minutes for now. It's gonna take me between 30 and 50 seconds depending on what type of champion I am and how fast I can take. And they have different stats. Like ocean and mountain dragons are really hard to take early game. Cloud dragon, I think, is the one that deals the most amount of damage and has like the fastest attack speed. So I don't really know like all the different characteristics of each dragon. It's not really important, but just know that you are going to spend between 30 and 50 seconds for this, and if you want to do it safely, you need to do it when your mid lane is pushed up and your bot lane is pushed up, and they can help you with this. If possible, I would always prioritize Rift Herald. Baron is here because it's over 20 minutes, but Rift Herald spawns at minute 8. If you kill it, it will respawn once more. But you're gonna use Rift Herald. It's extremely easy to solo. You just hit the eye, you jump, hit it, jump back, hit it, whatever. And you're gonna use it to get the lane that needs to be ahead even further ahead. If I have a Camille and Renekton here, I'm gonna prioritize getting Camille ahead, because once she gets ahead, the Renekton cannot play anymore. If I have an assassin on my team and a sit under tower, do nothing mage like Malzahar, I can prioritize this. I need to break their tower so that he doesn't have a safe space to walk up and farm, and so that my assassin can push out and roam without losing minions to the tower. So you need to use Rift Herald very smartly. And if I have an AD carry that scales insanely well with gold, let's say it's a Jinx, it's a Vayne, it's someone that once they are ahead and the enemy team hits tab and they see Jinx with 3 kills and 4 items, they're just gonna like slash FF because they don't want to play anymore. So you use Rift Herald that spawns at 8 minutes. Why can't I change? No, now it works. Yeah, you use Rift Herald to basically break down the tower and give gold to someone who needs it the most. If we're playing a carry jungler, we can greed and we can take gold for ourselves. That's fine as well. Just know that you have to carry if you take gold from your teammates. After 14 minutes, it becomes harder to track the jungler, because now they don't really have towers to play for, they don't have plates to play for, they don't have like the same access to their camps, because laners will start taking camps in order to get further ahead. So you, on most champions, you play basically as a second support. You become a bit of an objective whore. So you're mainly going to focus dragons, the second spawn of Herald, towers that are low that needs to go down. You need to basically take all tier 1s. So it becomes harder to play the game. But if you track the jungler in the first 14 minutes, not only is it really hard for them to get things done and affect the mental of your team, but you can really F up their ability to play the game as they want to. If a Lee Sin comes out of the early game without a big lead, he is useless. Same with Xin Zhao, same with what's his name? Jarvan. He becomes an EQ bot that's underleveled and has like 1 item to 2 items on top lane, 1.5 items mid lane. Supports will easily have enough levels and gold to basically deny engages. So you just tracking the enemy jungler is really important and a very free way to solve the mysteries of the early game. I don't think there was anything more I can add to this. Basically, play for timers. Note that the camps take a set time to respawn. If you know where they are, you know where they're going to be. If they're not where they are supposed to be, then you know what's currently up in their jungle, and you can make decisions based on that. I hope you learned something in this kind of wonky free flow video. I don't really do a lot of these, but if something felt off or felt wrong, let me know in the comments. I really want to improve these type of videos, and thank you all for watching. Nearing 1,000 subs on this channel, which I am very happy for, and if you would like to join the gang, feel free to subscribe. Don't miss out on new videos, and I will see you in the next one. Peace and goodbye.